Let's send our thoughts to Alexandra Eala, who had to call for a trainer during her semifinal match because of ongoing lower back pain. First things first, how are you feeling now? Because one of the most unforgettable moments from that semifinal match was seeing you take that fall, which leads us to this exclusive Alexandra Eala's devastating confession after surgery that brought the tennis community to its knees. Hello again, tennis fans, and welcome back to Champions Tennisics, your undisputed #1 source for the most impactful, emotional, and game-changing stories unfolding on the pro tennis circuit today. If this is your first time with us, we're thrilled to have you join the community. And as for timing, you couldn't have chosen a more important day to join us because today's topic goes far beyond a simple match analysis or a shift in the rankings. What we're discussing is a development that has brought the entire world of tennis to a standstill. This is the type of story that serves as a powerful reminder that sports are about so much more than just the final score. So I invite you to settle in. You might want to get a drink. You might even want to keep some tissues nearby because we're about to explore one of the most profound emotional events to hit the WTA Tour in a very long time. We're talking about the one, the only Alexandria, our very own phenom, the pride of the Philippines and the rising force who's been shaking up the entire tennis world. For what felt like an eternity before this news finally broke, an almost unbearable quiet had fallen over everyone associated with Alex. And this wasn't just any quiet, it was a silence more resonant than the roar of a capacity crowd at the Australian Open. It was the sort of quiet that puts a knot in your stomach while fans were frantically refreshing their social media feeds, desperate for any update. Rumors started swirling through the locker rooms, with insiders hinting that something was seriously amiss, but keeping the details private. The press corps was in an absolute state of chaos, trying to connect the dots and figure out what was going on behind the scenes. It was no secret that Alex had been in a tough fight with her own body for quite some time. For those who have been following her career closely, right here on Champions Tennisics, we've seen the physical red flags accumulating for a while now. Yet no one, not a single person, could have braced themselves for the sheer gravity of the announcement that was coming. Then, at long last, the crushing silence was finally broken. After undergoing a significant surgical operation, Alex shared a message with her fans worldwide, and it wasn't some polished statement put together by a communications team. It wasn't a sterile medical update filled with technical terms and emotionless data. What she shared was infinitely more meaningful, and something you rarely witness in the professional sports arena. It was completely unfiltered. It was genuine. It was a display of raw human emotion that you just don't encounter from top-tier athletes conditioned since they were kids to always appear strong and unbreakable. And from that place of pure honesty, Alexandra Eala connected with millions of her supporters globally with a message so simple yet so profoundly moving that it has since spread like wildfire across the internet. She posted, and I want you to absorb every word of this, "I'm still fighting, but this time I need everyone beside me." Let's repeat that. I'm still fighting, but this time I need everyone beside me. Let that sink in for a moment because that short phrase carries more emotional weight than a lengthy article ever could. In the first part, you hear the voice of a relentless competitor, "I'm still fighting." That's the Alexa we all know. That's the young woman who never knows when to quit, who has pulled herself out of unwinnable matches on countless occasions. And then the second part arrives, the part that truly tugs at your heartstrings. But this time, I need everyone beside me. My dream was always to help tennis become more popular in the Philippines. But now I'm introducing the sport to a brand new audience all over the globe. She's modest and has an incredible work ethic. With just those few words, a 20-year-old sports star who has spent nearly her whole life shouldering the expectations of an entire country finally had the courage to ask for support. Make no mistake, that isn't a sign of weakness. It's one of the bravest acts a person can perform. Now, to fully grasp the significance of this moment and the powerful reaction it caused in the tennis world, we have to retrace the physical struggles that led Alex to this surgery. This didn't just come from nowhere. For months, her body had been sending out warning signals, and Alex, with the heart of a true champion, met each one with a fierce and awe-inspiring determination not to give in. The signs of distress were visible to everyone. Looking back, they paint a picture of a young woman who was pushing the very boundaries of her physical capabilities in her quest for greatness. Let's rewind to the National Bank Open in Montreal this past July. For anyone who watched that event, you'll surely recall the instant that had the entire global fan base holding its breath. Alex was competing against the very tough Marquette Vandrousova, and it was clear that something was seriously painfully wrong. You could see the heavy strapping on her shoulder. Her on-court movement was strained, which was totally out of character compared to the effortless, powerful game she's known for. You could see her battling through each and every point, the pained look on her face revealing the intensity of the struggle she was enduring. Ultimately, the physical toll became too much, and she had to pull out of the Cincinnati Open that was scheduled right after. It was a gut-wrenching scene. An anxious silence had fallen over the entire stadium. Messages from concerned fans poured across social media. But did Alex see that as a reason to pull back and rest? Not for a second. She dedicated herself, completely reevaluated her strategy, poured everything into her physical therapy, and returned to the game more ferocious than before. Then, at the start of this year, we had the ASB Classic in Auckland, where we saw something truly spectacular, though perhaps for troubling reasons when we look back on it now. Alex battled it out with China's Wang Senu in what became the longest and most physically punishing contest of the whole event. For almost 3 entire hours, the match was a seesaw of momentum filled with brilliant plays and sheer, unadulterated grit, all while Alex contended with persistent, agonizing spasms in her lower back. Just imagine that for a moment. Your lower back is screaming in pain. You have been competing for hours and have been behind by 4 games on 2 separate occasions. Yet instead of giving in, instead of giving up to protect your own well-being, you push even harder. You signal for a medical break while you're down 3-0 in the final set. You take whatever treatment is possible in those few crucial minutes. And then you step right back on that court and continue the fight. Wang Senu, one of China's most gifted players, later said publicly that Alex was an absolute warrior. On the tennis circuit, there is no greater tribute one athlete can give to another. The narrative then shifted to the WTA Philippine Women's Open, and this is when things became genuinely hard to take in. Competing in your home country is supposed to be a highlight. The Rizal Memorial Tennis Center was filled to capacity. The atmosphere was absolutely electric. The stadium was thrumming with the kind of fierce local pride that is a hallmark of Filipino sports fans whose capacity for loyalty and excitement is truly second to none anywhere on earth. The ELO phenomenon was on full display. A commanding performance was anticipated, a definitive win, a hero's welcome. And through the first set against Alina Kuriva of Russia, that is precisely what the crowd witnessed. Alex was playing with precision, focus, and authority. But then, the moment arrived that brought the entire arena to a standstill. Halfway through the second set, the unimaginable occurred. Alex signaled for a medical break. The packed stadium fell into a complete eerie quiet. Thousands of spectators collectively held their breath. When she re-emerged on the court a short time later, her right thigh heavily wrapped in a bandage. The silence was so profound you could hear a pin drop. The tension was almost unbearable. After the competition concluded, Alex behaved as she always does. She minimized the issue. She offered a smile. With the kind of stoic resilience that Filipinos so deeply respect and admire in her, she calmly stated, "It was just a little bit of a bother, but it is not a major issue." Dealing with physical discomfort is simply a reality for any athlete. And we took her at her word, did we not? We accepted what she said because we desperately wanted it to be true. We accepted it because she spoke with such unwavering confidence. We accepted it because that is how you react when you are devoted to an athlete. You embrace their assurances without question because facing the alternative is just too difficult to contemplate. We saw her again soon after at Indian Wells, and the reception she received there was incredible in its own way. She was attracting huge crowds for her practice sessions alone. People were fighting for a spot just to see Alexandra Eala go through her warm-ups. This shows the kind of superstar status she has managed to build on the WTA Tour in such a short amount of time. She was skillfully navigating a very challenging bracket with sharp thinking and a competitive spirit. We watched her secure wins in Dubai, relentlessly pursuing the ambition that has shaped her entire young adult life. On paper, everything looked positive. Her public persona was poised and resolute. But it is time we discuss the harsh, uncomfortable reality that lies at the heart of elite professional athletics. For every carefully worded response in a press conference, for every polite interview after a match, and for every exciting highlight clip on social media, there is a person pushing their body to perform at a level that is truly beyond ordinary. The WTA Tour stands as one of the most physically grueling competitive arenas on the entire planet. The travel demands alone are enough to break most professional sports people. Couple that with the strain of playing on hard courts, grass, and clay in different time zones, and the constant physical toll of serving at incredible speeds, chasing down shots, and powerfully hitting ground strokes thousands of times each week, and you start to see why injuries are not just a risk on the tour. They are a near certainty. The tour is a relentless machine. It does not stop for anybody. It does not make allowances for age or natural ability. It just continues moving forward, and every single athlete must find a way to stay in the race before their body finally gives out completely. For Alexandra Eala, that breaking point has now been reached. The operation is over, and the tennis world is now waiting in suspense. but in a manner that feels completely different from the anxious excitement of a close final set. This is the kind of suspense you feel when someone you admire is facing a major ordeal, leaving you feeling powerless and wishing you could do something, absolutely anything, to ease their burden. So let's address what the road to recovery will actually entail, because it is vital that fans have a realistic understanding of what Alex and her support team are up against in the weeks and months to come. Recovering from a significant surgery is never a straightforward journey. It is not a tidy, predictable path where each day brings a small improvement over the last. It is a difficult road that starts with considerable physical suffering as the body begins to heal. It means enduring physical therapy sessions that challenge your emotional resolve just as much as they test your body's strength. There are going to be days when improvement feels incredibly slow, when your body just will not cooperate in the way you desperately want it to. When the challenge looming before you seems truly insurmountable, you will face moments of uncertainty and deep frustration, times when the divide between your present reality and your ultimate ambition. Returning to a tennis court to compete at the sport's zenith feels like a chasm too vast to cross. Then there is the psychological side of this recuperation, which is in numerous ways more challenging than the physical part. For a world-class competitor, being sidelined by your own body strips you of the very foundation that gives your life structure and purpose. Yet, there is something we know for certain, a truth we intend to pour into this message with every bit of our conviction. You must never under any circumstances count Alexandria out. This is a young woman who has displayed a level of fortitude that most athletes double her age have not even approached. Her formative years were spent training at the Rafael Nadal Academy, and if that institution is famous for one thing, it is for cultivating players who possess an unbreakable mental resolve. These are players who have been tempered in the crucible of fierce competition and emerged on the other side as true warriors. They are athletes who understand in their very soul that challenges are not the final chapter. They are merely a passage in a much longer, more intricate story. Just consider what Alex has already conquered in her career to get where she is today. The immeasurable hours of dedication, the years far from her homeland, battling through the junior tour to hone her craft away from the familiar comforts of the Philippines, and the immense weight of an entire country's dreams on her young shoulders. The difficulty of moving from a junior prodigy and Grand Slam champion to a contender on the senior tour. This is a leap that has broken countless skilled players who were never able to establish themselves at the highest level. Alex did not just make that leap. She did it with remarkable flair, rising to a world ranking of 31 and cementing her place as one of the most thrilling young talents in the entire sport. She did not arrive there by chance. She achieved it through a mix of incredible innate ability, top-tier coaching, and a strength of will that can never be taught. And now the world of tennis is seeing the person behind the athlete. When Alex shared that she needs everyone with her, she opened a door that athletes almost always keep bolted shut. She brought her supporters, her worldwide community, into a raw and honest place that most sports personalities lack the bravery to reveal publicly. And the reaction from that worldwide community has been utterly incredible. The internet has ignited with a wave of support and togetherness that is truly powerful to see. From Manila to Madrid, New York, to Melbourne and Tokyo to Cape Town, her supporters are flooding every social media outlet with messages of encouragement, hope, and prayer. Hashtags focused on Alex's comeback are trending in numerous countries. The tennis world, players, coaches, journalists, and enthusiasts alike, has gathered around her with a unified sense of compassion that is incredibly touching. Her fellow competitors on the WTA Tour are offering their support both openly and in private, because every last one of them knows deep down that what Alex is going through could happen to any of them. Professional athletes live in a state of constant negotiation with their own physical capabilities. When one of their own is made to stop and deal with the results of pushing those capabilities too far, it is a powerful reminder to everyone else in the sport. A powerful feeling of community emerges within the tennis world at times like this. And to witness that community spirit so clearly on display is a beautiful thing. There is a larger narrative here that also needs to be shared because Alexa is more than just one athlete. She is an icon. She stands for something of immense importance, not only for the Philippines, but for all of Asian tennis and the global women's sport. She is the living proof that skill can come from anywhere, that a player's birthplace should not limit their dreams, and that with the proper blend of talent, guidance, and pure resolve, a player from Southeast Asia can do more than compete at the sport's highest tier. She can excel there. She can fill stadiums at Indian Wells. She can secure victories in Dubai. She can conduct herself with the grace and self-belief of a player who undeniably belongs among the world's elite. The next generation of Filipino tennis players. The young children now observing Alex's path with eyes full of wonder, they are depending on her to return. It's not just for her own well-being, but for theirs. Because seeing people like you matters in sports. Because when a child watches someone who shares their background from their home compete on the world's greatest stages, it changes their own idea of what is achievable in a way that is beyond measure. Alexandra Eala, whether she knows it or not, is creating a legacy that will reach far beyond her own career accomplishments. She is preparing the way for a future where Philippine tennis is seen as a major force on the global stage, as a given rather than as a welcome novelty. And that is the reason this comeback is so critically important. That is the reason the whole tennis world, from the seats of the biggest arenas to the simple public courts where children are first learning the game, is so committed to Alex's return. We are not simply waiting for a player to recover from an injury. We are awaiting the return of an icon. We are awaiting the proof that the human will, when powered by dedication, meaning, and the support of millions, can conquer even the most formidable physical challenges. Across the wider stage of the WTA Tour, life moves forward at its unyielding pace, and that itself is a source of motivation for Alex's comeback. The player rankings are in constant motion. New talents are always breaking through. Seasoned players are always fighting to recapture their past success. The field has never been more competitive. The pool of talent never more vast. When Alex comes back, and we are completely certain that she will be rejoining a tour that has kept on changing during her time away. But she's going to come back with an asset that can't be faked or fast-tracked. It's the wisdom gained only by battling a major health scare and winning. An ordeal like that fundamentally transforms a player. It forges a stronger connection to the game itself. It brings into sharp focus what's really important. And if history has taught us anything, it's that when gifted athletes return from major setbacks with this newfound focus and drive, they frequently play the most incredible tennis of their lives. So this is the situation we find ourselves in today, tennis family. We're filled with immense admiration for Alexandra Eala's bravery in sharing her story so publicly. We're also filled with hope, a hope that's built on our knowledge of her strength and her talent. We are also united in our promise to support her, just as she requested, through each difficult and demanding step of her comeback. She showed us her vulnerability, but also her resolve, and our only proper reaction is to match it with steadfast encouragement, making sure she knows she's never truly on her own. The path to her return will be arduous. It is going to be tough. She will face times of uncertainty and struggle that we as her supporters can't completely witness or comprehend. Yet at the conclusion of this journey, we are absolutely convinced that Alexandra Eala will make her comeback. She will step onto a tennis court again somewhere on this planet. We'll see her bouncing the ball a couple of times before she tosses it up for a serve. She'll stare down her opponent across the net, and the entire stadium, no matter where it is, will get to its feet to cheer her return. And that is going to be one of the most incredible sights our sport has witnessed in years. And right now, we need to hear from all of you, because that's precisely what Alex wanted. She wants to feel her worldwide family rallying around her with affection and good energy. Leave your words of encouragement in the comments down below. Post your most loved memories of Alexandra Eala. Let us know how her fight has inspired you. Let's completely fill up this comment section with an outpouring of kindness and support, so she can feel the power of every message wherever she is on her path back. Show her that Champions Tennis, along with each and every one of you, will be behind her no matter what, for however long she needs. If you were touched by this video, if her story resonates with you, please take a moment and press that like button. It only takes 1 second, but it creates a huge impact, allowing us to share Alex's amazing story with more tennis lovers globally who should know about it. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already part of the Champions Tennis community, as we'll be tracking every update on this situation and all the other big news making waves in tennis today. And be sure to click the notification bell, that way you'll be the absolute first to get an alert when we release a new video. Here we stay on top of things and don't let anything slip by. Until we see you again, continue to cherish this gorgeous, tough, and spectacular sport. Continue to back our athletes through their greatest triumphs and their hardest struggles. And never forget, the most powerful narratives in tennis go far beyond the court. They're about the strength of the human will. They're about individuals like Alexandra Eala, who take a hit but always discover the motivation to rise again. We'll catch you in this next video, Champions Tennis family. Stay tough. Keep that passion alive and always have faith in those who battle. Our thoughts are with Alexandra Eala, who had to call for a medical timeout for ongoing lower back spasms in her semifinal match. In the high-stakes world of pro tennis, timing and momentum are absolutely critical. A single successful tournament can ignite a player's entire future, and one powerful performance can define a whole new purpose.